Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Collins. The views shared should in no way replace that of your physician, and the views of the host and her guests are that solely of the individual and are not endorsed by any businesses or organizations.
Hello, fam. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Collins. I am Dr. Sharice Collins. I'm a board-certified OBGYN. And today I have some friends and what I would consider family with me. I'd like for you to meet the Millers, Rodney and Amy. If you'd like to tell everybody a little bit about yourselves.
Well, his last name is Prather, first of all.
Sorry.
That's okay,
I
but I do
apologize.
I like being the Millers because then I'm in
I think
charge.
that was a first.
I love it because usually we get called the Prather family because Zoe's last name is Prather and his last name is Prather. So I like that.
Good. Well, everyone's met you, Amy, but would you like to recap who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Amy Miller and I was a clinical social worker. Now I'm a life and relationship coach. We were in my office last time in Lafayette Square. This is my husband, Rodney Prather. He's a school counselor and he can take it from there.
There's more?
Sure, you're a school counselor, say more.
I'm a school counselor.
You make beats, you're a hip hop producer.
Fair. I moonlight as a music producer, that is true.
Good.
I don't know if I have a whole lot of other things to say about myself, though.
We'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
What made you get into music?
I was always into music, I think. My sister and I used to make...
There's a story to this.
I'm sorry.
My sister and I used to make like Weird Al. We used to make parody songs like that when I was super young, 11, 12. And matter of fact, I found recently the cassette deck, but not the cassette tape that goes in it. But yeah, so music's always been a thing. When I was in college, I just stumbled upon music making, and it just stuck with me. Mm-hmm. A friend bought me a music program that we started playing with that was not intended to create music, but some kind of way we figured out how to do it with that program. So, and it's just been with me ever since.
And Amy, what about you? You have a music background as well.
I do. I'm a singer and I do not make music of any kind. Like I'm not a songwriter. I know I'm not a good songwriter.
Really?
I'm not creative.
I'm not as good as I would like to be, but with practice, I'll get
I don't
better
even want to
and better.
practice because I'm not good at it. It doesn't go well, but I'm a good singer, so I stick with that. So I've been doing cover gigs for years in like bars and driveways and parties and stuff, wineries. So we just do like cover songs. I unfortunately or fortunately have quite a twang to my voice. So I end up sounding like, if I was on The Voice, they'd put me on Blake Shelton's team and I'd be but it is what it is.
I think it's fortunate. I think it's unique.
It's not what people expect when I start singing, I don't think.
I don't expect it still.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be coming to watch.
You should.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
But it made me think that, you all have never collaborated or anything. He makes music,
I tried.
you sing.
We did those jingles.
Oh, true.
We did some jingles that
We did a couple jingles.
that your friend Reese, he wrote them and sent them to Rodney. They were like little kid. He had a little kid and we had a little kid, and No Germs was one of them.
I love it.
And so he did the music recording, and I did some backup vocals to Reese. What he sent. He's in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. I've never met him except on Facebook, but and then Zoe did like a little cameo. Mm-hmm. It's very cute. I don't know whatever happened to those, but that's the closest we've come to collaborating.
Unfortunately.
Is jingles.
I would like to, just like while we're here, putting that on the record.
Okay, thank you, honey.
Oh, okay.
I'm noting
on
it.
that note, they have like Gracie's Corner and, a lot of the...
I just learned about this.
Count all the money, count
Yes,
all the money,
and
money.
there is trap nursery rhymes.
Oh,
Yes,
Zoe would love that.
yes,
Zoe
and
loves
they
a
have
trap beat.
different rap artists, rapping on over the
Really?
animations. But it's becoming a huge deal because people want their children of color to look at people that look like them.
Sure.
And the children, like for our grandson, he won't pay attention to any of the other cartoons, but as soon as you put on the music and he sees brown and black people on, he stops. And he's just, enamored until the songs go off. And recently he started talking, and now he will hum or say things that he's gotten from these videos. So they're educational, but there's so many things and skills that you all have, right? In addition to you being a school counselor and you all having a small child that you're raising together. And just knowing you the way I do, your passion for education and people getting information, just like we're doing this, right? So just a thought, as Rodney put things on the record here, just a thought that, maybe y'all should think more about collaborating. It doesn't have to be, a hip hop or R&B song. It could be something along the lines of what you do, because people listen, but they want to listen the way they hear information, right? Which is usually through music. So, okay.
Which I did not know about myself until probably college age or close to it. But I learned at that time that it's via audio that I learn the best. And I think we're kind of seeing that with Zoe already, that's a way for her to pick up information.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they taught us nursery rhymes, right? Like they stick in your mind so you can memorize things. But
I just never thought about
I
it.
think it's been proven over and over again that different cultures learn differently.
Right.
So, when we talk about bad children or someone not being teachable, it's not that, it's just that you haven't found the way to reach them, right? But music is almost always a way to reach somebody.
I say that to my kids all the time when they have issues with their teachers. It's like, well, maybe they're not a bad teacher, but their learning style may not match or their teaching style may not match your learning style. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I just thought while we were talking on the music tip, that I'd just put that out there.
Well, Zoe will be the songwriter.
Yeah, I think she'll be into that real soon.
She could write a song.
She does
raps.
write
She did write a song.
She did write a song.
We recorded a song. She recorded her first song recently, like a few weeks ago.
Well,
she
maybe
sings songs all the time, but she never lets me record it.
maybe that's something that you include her on.
Yeah, she would like that.
Yeah, something for grade school, elementary age children, because that's what she is. And she'll reach them on their level, on whatever you want her to talk
Except
about.
she's talking about stuff that she's talking about grown people stuff in her songs.
Well,
And she beeps out. What she say? She beeps out.
She'll leave a space. She'll just be rapping or singing, and she'll leave a space, and she'll say, "I left a space because that's where they have the grown-up word."
I love it.
Because she gets the clean versions. So she, she knows like her version of Bodak Yellow, for example. She's loved since she was little, and the other day, like she just came out with it, but she doesn't understand the lyrics at all, and and it's the edited version, so there's lots of blanks, and she just
Leaves the blanks.
she just leaves them like they're words.
So now she does that when she's making up her own song.
But I think that's awesome because she's not cursing, but she knows how the cadence goes and where the words should go, right?
She does. Her cadence is perfect.
Well, let's talk about Zoe a little bit more.
Okay. Well, we could talk about the birth process. I was going to say, I thought that was interesting to talk about the fact that you got to be in all of my appointments, which I think a lot of male partners. So correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of male partners don't attend all the appointments, right?
No. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's been a trend. It's been a change because when I first came into practice, there was hardly ever any partners in the appointments unless it was an ultrasound. But now the husbands get upset or any partner gets upset if they have to miss the appointments. And so that's when I come in and I'm like, well, it's a little bit harder for you to get here, right? Like you're not visibly pregnant, so your job may give you problems. So, and I don't want you to have to use PTO to come for these appointments. So because of that, I kind of bless them, right? I'm like, make the ultrasound appointments. I'll see you at delivery. If you want to be in on the visits and can't leave work, we'll FaceTime when I come in the room. So sometimes they'll be on
That's
FaceTime
cool.
and I'll just
That
be
is
like, hey,
cool.
babe,
I
what's
like
up?
that.
How you doing? Sorry you couldn't make it today. And then we go on with the visit. But no, when y'all had Zoe, it was different. It was just starting to turn, where more men and more partners were wanting to be present at every visit. But with prenatal visits, not every visit has a lot going on. So unless it's something specific that the couple wants to talk to me about, there's still guys that are just like, I'm going to work. call me if it's a problem.
I was so anxious at all mine that I was glad that he was there, because I was so anxious and like if they had any brief hard time finding like the heartbeat, like I would just be like freaked the fuck out and like something bad. So it was very helpful for him to be there for that.
And I agree with you. There are people that do suffer from anxiety that I think their partners calm them down. Not only do they calm them down, but there's something we call pregnancy brain, where you just don't remember things. And the husband or partner will be their brain. It's like, I told you 3 things. And they'll come up with the 3 things that they were supposed to ask me, because the patient gets into a conversation and forgets the things that they talked about before they came. So a lot of times that's the partner's job, is to remember the things that they need to talk to me about. And then I encourage people to put notes in their phone. If you're on monthly visits and there's 4 weeks between our visits, then put your notes in your phone, your questions in your phone, so then that way you're not searching in that time that we're in the room together.
Whether it's a night in or a night out, meeting new friends or a date night with my boo, just know when you see me, I'll be wearing Denise Lee.
That, like we talked to you about last time, how the mom feels unsupported. A lot of times the birth of the first child is often the time when relationships fall apart. It's often that.
Yes.
It's that like, and so one thing that I coach people to say, men to say specifically in that dynamic, is to say like, what can I take responsibility for? Not what can I do to help? Not like, what do you need me to do? But like, what can I take responsibility for? Meaning like, that's your job. Like
Right.
that's the stuff that you're going to do, and I'm not going to think about it.
And on the opposite side of that, I'll tell the females, like, you need to open your mouth. Stop thinking he knows
Oh, he don't
what
know-
you
he doesn't
want.
know
He
anything.
has no idea.
He doesn't know anything.
So if you want something done and he's not doing it, instead of getting mad and blowing up on him, tell him, open your mouth. You know what? You sitting over here playing a game. I need you to do this. And to your point, and I'm going to need you to do this from this point forward.
This is your
This
job.
is yours. But we don't do that. And so we have this internal struggle of feeling alone, and like no one understands how much help I need, and I just feel invisible. But we're making the problem worse ourselves by also not communicating, because we're resentful that he should already know. So, I mean, I think that it's real important, to your point, because nothing was said. You said, it's my child. I'm doing this for my child. So it was light work, right? But if it were somebody else's child, my attitude would be completely different.
It would have been work.
But most men don't have that attitude.
Why do you think that is? Like, I'm just curious what your thoughts are about that.
I think it's multifaceted. I think part of it is society, this society in America, and how misogynistic it is. And, I mean, look at what's happening right now, with all of the political moves that are being made. It's almost as if they want to go back 60 years, right? Like literally, or longer.
I was going to say more.
And, there are a lot of men particularly that are resentful because they feel that women are taking the jobs and they can't get a job and they're lonely. They may not have a girlfriend, and all the blame is going elsewhere. But all of that is coming to them from media and from our society and what we say you're supposed to be. And instead of making our own pathways, we try to get on a pathway that's meant for us to follow. And that's very difficult, I think, because for men, you're supposed to be strong and protect your family and traditional, right? Like, the way America is. But that's not our society anymore, right? Like, you're not fighting people that's trying to break in your homes on a regular like we were years ago. And things have changed quite a bit. The jobs have changed quite a bit. It doesn't require for you to be so strong because we're not doing all of these hard-working, jobs, trade positions. There are people that do them, but the majority is everybody wants to go work in an office, right? Or do something that doesn't require manual labor. So that takes away part of the identity too, because part of a man's identity in this country is providing and work. And that dynamic has changed. Then I think what we think in general of what a woman is, what a man is, and now there's transgender in the entire LGBTQ plus community. So now even our thoughts of what you're supposed, what your role in a relationship, in a family, at work, whatever, all the roles have changed. So now you're becoming a chameleon because you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to be in each situation. Is it politically correct? Is it not? Like, it's all these nuances to society now that we didn't have before.
Right.
So I think it leads to a lot of confusion for people. And then lastly, it's of course where you come from. I think parenting is huge. If you see loving parents, if you see parents that spend a lot of time with their children, then you expect that when you have children. If you were a latchkey kid and your parents were always at work or you were always with someone else, then that's your idea of parenting, right? So I think a lot of it is what you see, what you've been told, and the amount of love and affection that was seen. And I think that's why some men are very open and loving and affectionate and some aren't. And some can be opened up because it's there. They just were told to hide that.
Tired of struggling to find your way? Feeling like nothing is working? That ends now with the D-Bake Foundation. From getting your high school diploma to attaining your GED, but it doesn't stop there. From job placement in construction, coding, financial literacy, and business skills. We are here so you don't have to do it alone. Join us today at the D-Bake Foundation. It's not the end. This is only the beginning.
Originally, Zoe's middle name was going to be Miller. Remember, her name was going to be Zoe Miller Prather.
I was into that.
Yeah.
My dad's family has women named Miller as their first name.
That's
so
dope.
I was like, yeah, let's do it.
But then his granny passed like 2 weeks before Zoe was born, and he was really close to her, and his mom was really close to her, and her name was Izella, which is a cool name. So
Yeah.
that's how Zoe ended up with Zoe Izella instead.
But I was also on board with, and I totally understand people who hyphenate when they get married, or people who make up their own brand new last name when they start a new family. I don't think that's crazy either.
Well, that's why I said society's changing so much, but there's still the cornerstones that are archaic and quite frequently misogynistic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so my whole thing in life, period, all the time is, okay, but why though? It's like, okay, but why though? Which is why, like, I can't really be mad that Zoe is so that way.
And
that
I
she
am
wasn't
too.
right. To be
I don't
like,
say
well,
bless
why?
you.
Which I think you should
like,
say
why?
bless you.
For what? What's it gonna do?
I don't know why I feel strongly about bless you, and I think it's so rude when you don't say bless you.
Have you ever sneezed when nobody was around to bless you? Are you all right?
I'm all right.
Okay. Well,
But that's a minor example. But I'm more broadly, there's so many things that people just do that, like, they're like, well, that's because that's just what you're supposed to. I'm like, but why though? Like,
Yeah.
but why would I change
But
my name?
I think that's a lot of the relationship issues that we've been talking about too,
Right.
right? Like
But why,
people
though?
do things just because
Y'all
they think
sleep
that's
like
supposed
right.
to
Y'all
do.
sleep, and your partner snores. Why are you doing that? Why?
Right.
Because you're supposed to sleep in the same bed. But why though?
Right,
Do you want to have sleep?
right, right. I mean, you're right, and like we said, it's all a contract. It's all what these two people are agree to, or in
Right.
polygamy situations, what these people agree with. And I've just learned I don't judge any of it. I just want to help you where you are. You know what I mean? Like, that's not for
If
me
you're
to
happy.
do, right?
if you're not happy, I'm judging.
I don't judge. I just nudge,
I'm judging.
right?
What-
Okay.
I
I
don't
judge and
judge. I
nudge.
just
I'll
if I
shove
see
you,
that they're in a
actually.
really bad relationship, because all too often we see it so clear. Not just me. I mean, staff. Like, you can see it written all over the partner's
I
body
bet.
language when they
I
come
bet.
in. You know, and the way he looks
they're
at
coming
her,
in
and that
often.
attitude, and he's like, "What you say?" And you just be like, "Oh God, this is not a good relationship." And so in those
bet.
situations, they're already pregnant. They're coming in. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. You know. So I don't judge. I just nudge. I suggest, especially when they're together, because if I say something to her and she goes home, she might get in trouble. I don't know the full details. But
Sure.
if he's with her and I can see the body language, then I can go, yo, bro,
What is this? Yeah.
you want to talk about it? What's bothering you? You came in today. You get to be included in the visit whenever you come. Your thoughts and feelings matter. I'm feeling this today, and I'll bring them in. And they appreciate that because now they're having a conversation that's mediated.
Right. Which they wouldn't have been able to happen without your presence. Absolutely.
I had a telemedicine visit with a couple because I'm like, no, I need you both present to hear both of you say in front of the other what you're telling me, right? And so I think it was really productive. And by the end, they were at a place that they were nowhere near before because one wasn't listening. You know, you're just always yelling at me. I can't hear, you know, and she's like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, well, yeah,
Well,
you are
that's-
because
that's
I'm
what
watching it.
happens.
So, you know, I was able to say, I wish I could video you right now
Boom.
and turn it around and hit play because I don't think you understand where you are. And he does, which is why he's reaching out for help. So it was very interesting, and I wish I could do more couples things, but it's only certain situations and what I do, you know, that allows me to go, okay, I need to talk to both of y'all, you know. But most of the time, it's me giving her pearls and going, go home, have a discussion, and then I'll tell them if I think maybe they're in an unsafe relationship or a relationship where they might not be heard or, you know, it might be a clap back. I'll say, go home and blame me.
Yeah.
Say Dr. Collins
say
said,
that too.
go home and
that's
blame me.
important.
I'm like,
Dr.
throw me
Collins
under the
said,
bus,
I
I
don't
don't
mind
care."
being the bad guy. Use me to protect you. Right.
Because
right,
sometimes
right.
they'll be like, well, she, you know,
I'm
she said
likely
that
to
you
do that.
that you said, be like, I didn't say that. Well, though, when it's like blame, you know, like
I'm likely to do that.
what to
That's
blame
hilarious.
stuff on. Yeah, don't do that.
Get the conversation started. You know?
So I would say from this conversation, what would you
No,
think
thank
would
you.
be the biggest takeaways that the two of you would have for couples?
Communicate.
Yeah,
Be honest.
yeah.
With
Even when it's hard.
yourself
Well, yeah.
first.
And even when it's hard, because we've been through some hard stuff and had to talk through some hard stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, being courageous and holding each other accountable for being your best self. And I think with the kids thing, like sharing responsibilities in a really meaningful way.
Yeah.
Like he does way more stuff around the house than I do, and I'm at work more, and I'm like
She
trying
works
to,
more,
and
so
I'm
I
trying to
feel
make
like-
more money for
yeah.
us, and like I have a wider range where I can make more money doing different kinds of things, and so, you know, he's real quick to pick up the slack, but then he wants to sleep in the mornings, and so every morning, he's never the morning parent unless like I'm out of town or something, and that works fine. Like there's no, and if something stops working, talk about
We
it.
gotta
Be
talk
like,
about
that
it,
was
yeah.
working, but now it's not working. So to your point about contractual, like the contractual agreements you've made, you know, a good friend of mine, Jennifer and Marcel, sat down and made. They're getting married. Some friends of ours, and they sat down and made agreements.
I
And,
think
like,
that's smart because
I do too.
then you know what the expectations are.
And then you revisit them.
And then
say,
you
Yeah,
can
but
say,
that's
well,
the
you
thing.
did know this. We've discussed this before,
Right.
not
And if
you
it's not-
should have known.
Right, and if it's not cool with you anymore, then let's talk about what we could do
We
instead.
can always revisit.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Right, and we've had to renegotiate all kinds of things in our relationship over the past 7 years, you know?
But
And-
if in the front of our minds all the time is, I love you, you are my choice, I choose you every day, I don't want to do this without you, then we can move on.
So
from
what do
there.
we need to do?
Right. What do
Right.
we need to do? What works for everybody?
So I'm hearing communicate, which I always say, open your damn mouth.
Yeah.
Tell them, but
Mm-hmm.
communicate. I'm hearing be courageous and
Mm-hmm.
be honest with yourself and them in the communication. Make sure that you're actually agreeing to what the responsibilities are
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship.
And we do a lot of touch. We do a lot of non-sexual touch. I think throw that
Affection,
one in there.
non-sexual touch, and then revisiting. Always revisiting and checking in on each other. Are we still going the direction that we want to go?
And there's something that comes before the communication that's internal, I feel.
Like self-reflection, self-awareness.
And I don't know really what to call it exactly, but I think it matters that we were older when
Right.
we
Right.
came
And
in
we've had a
contact
lot
with
of
each
different
other.
relationships. And I've been married before, and I've been with women before, and I've been, and he was like sort of permanently mostly single with some.
Single my whole life.
You had some
Perpetual
exceptions.
bachelor.
My whole 20s, I was single. So I had a lot of practice with different people of doing these kinds of things, and I think that matters too. As opposed to, like I have a lot of friends that they've been together since high school, stuff
Which is
like
ridiculous because you don't know anything. And you're
I
not even a fully
disagree.
formed person.
I disagree.
If you
Marlon and
stay
I
on the
have been
same- if
together
you stay on
since
the-
we were in high school.
If you stay on the same page.
But what we say, and we've not always been on the same page, right? Because we're two individuals and we had to grow.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we say we raised each other because we've been together
I like
longer
that.
than we were with our parents. So when
I
people
like
are like,
that.
how'd you get him to do? I didn't. I didn't. He did those things because they were his choice. And
That's a different dynamic than most people who've been together since
Right.
high school are working
Right.
with. Though.
Right.
Most
Right,
people who've
but-
been together since high school are not doing the growth together.
well, I don't know very many people that are still together since high school. There are a few couples that we went to high school with that are still together and seem to have very healthy relationships, but I'm not in them, right?
Well, and I get people when they're in crisis. So,
Right.
so
Right.
right. So I guess the people that I'm seeing who have been together since high school, a lot of times, they're interested in exploring. They're resentful that they haven't been able to explore other things in their lives or have other partners. They're like,
But it's true, like she said, it depends on the perspective of the people involved because, like I say it all the time, and I feel like I say all the time that I say it all the time. But
You do, I do too.
Like I say all the time.
we have our catchphrases.
Yes.
People do not grow linearly. People don't grow like trees. People grow like vines on a fence. So you're gonna
You're
do
fluid.
all of this.
You're fluid.
So the chances that you're gonna do that with another person are so slim. But that doesn't mean you can't connect early.
Well, I think you need to make sure that you leave room for
Leave room, that's
individuals.
exactly what I was
right?
gonna
You
say.
still have to be an individual. Everything isn't going to be together.
Right.
You
So
know,
not being
you-
codependent is
Correct,
also
right.
put that on that list
Right,
of on
right.
your
You
fingers.
still
of
have to
like-
be individuals to come together to make this relationship.
We're a team.
Which-
we don't merge into a
right.
single
We didn't morph
thing.
into
Yeah.
one person.
Right. We actually don't have that much in common in a lot of ways. Like in terms of like the stuff we like to do. Like I want to go like drink wine and talk on a patio and eat, go out to dinner and like, right. And he doesn't want to do that. But he likes to go people watch at the casino at
Right.
11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I've been asleep and I'm not interested in
Right.
the train
But
wreck
that's
that is
good
the
because you still
casino.
feel that you can be individuals.
Right.
And I think, like you said, a lot of times the relationship problems come into I'm being morphed into I don't know who I am anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whereas we go out of our way to be like, no, go do that because that's what makes you feel like a person.
Right.
Right. Right.
And not mom all the time or wife all the time.
Right.
Right.
So keep your individualism, I think would be the last point. Well, thank you.
Of course.
Thank
As
you
it-
both
it's getting
very
dark.
much.
Guess
I
we
know.
probably gotta
Yeah, I
wrap up.
guess
And
we
I'm
got
a
to
little
wrap it up.
cold.
But I really appreciate you coming on again. And Rodney, I appreciate you coming on. And to those of you who are listening, please continue to listen. Send us your comments, questions, or suggestions. And don't forget to check out the videos on the Patreon platform. And again, like always, the opinions and thoughts expressed today are ours and ours alone. Thanks again for joining us for Conversations with Collins. And don't forget, I really did go to the 24th grade. Thank you.
And you're going to have to put an E next to this one too.